I felt that drum beat in my body, in my heart, felt the earth beneath me, all of us singing together. And it was just like, I know this. Oh, this is what it means to sing. It's a living prayer that we are experiencing here, and it's up to us what prayer we're making. It's up to us how we live that prayer, how we show up to that prayer, what intention we really put to our life. Just life is bringing me what I need, even when it really hurts or it's really, really challenging, which it often is. If we can remember that in those moments when we really fall to our knees, we're pushed to our knees, that our soul has come here for that exact experience, that every single experience that we have in our life is exactly what our soul needs for our soul's evolution. We remember that we know how to live with this earth in a way that is harmonious, because we are the earth, because we are the spirit of life, because our soul, the truth of our soul, is not separate. I belong to this earth. This is my mother. And if we don't feel it, it's because we are disconnected from ourselves and from the earth. But the earth is our mother. I am the earth singing through me. We all are. I offer my life, and I offer my voice and my heart and my soul and my song to the earth, in that place where we are remembering that we are not separate, that we cannot, it's impossible to be separate. We can be disconnected in our illusion, but we can never be separate. We are a strand in this web of life. We have come here with a deeper purpose, and that is to be the guardians, the carriers of a very high consciousness with great capacity, an immense capacity in us for magic. The songs themselves are spirits. This reality is woven together with song. So in that sense of that, all of reality is vibrating. It's like a tapestry of song. So it's like all these threads, and each thread is a song, and it's woven together in this intricate, masterful, complex tapestry. We are each born with a song in our soul, woven into the tapestry of our being. I see that this song of our soul is not just a song. The song of our soul is the purpose with which we have come here. It is that which we have come here to create in our life. That which is our passion, our gift, our offering, our prayer. That is the song of our soul.
Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Truth, Health, Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Alan Burton, and today my very special guest is singer-songwriter, ceremonial musician, and song carrier, Isla Schaefer. Isla Schaefer is a multilingual world folk singer-songwriter and visionary musical artist, weaving together a stunning repertoire of original poetic songs with traditional and tribal music. Her music expresses a passionate dedication to earth consciousness and the sacred ancient wisdoms. With a growing international presence, she is a powerful voice in the world of ceremonial medicine music and the rising global community of people who are committed to residing in harmony with the earth. To experience the essence of this young songstress is to be taken down an enchanting musical journey that ultimately leads us back to the very core of our own inner existence. Isla Schaefer, welcome to the podcast. So Isla, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
Fantastic. I'm really interested to learn, for the sake of our audience, who might not know what a ceremonial musician and song carrier is. Could you just briefly explain?
I mean, the real honest answer for me is that I always have quite a resistance to having to give myself a name or a label or a genre, because in the end, what does it mean actually? In the end, I'm just Isla, and I'm just creating and sharing what moves through me, what I'm compelled to bring forth. But I guess those are the words that I feel, in a way, they have an open space in them that it can really mean anything. So for me, it means that I feel that I am creating music that is really more than just about listening, or more than just about telling stories, that it's really about creating a space that feels sacred and entering into the places within ourselves that is sacred, and entering into a space of connection to that which is sacred. So in that sense of all is a ceremony, which life is a ceremony. It's also just being a musician is also being a ceremonial musician. And being a song carrier, in that sense, I use that name in that I am not only creating my own songs, writing my own songs, but a great passion of mine is to gather songs from my journeys, from the lands I've traveled to, from the nations I have studied with, and the traditions, the indigenous traditions that I've learned from, that I gathered many, many songs over these years, and that has deeply nourished my being. My creativity has taught me a lot about what songs are, what it means to carry songs, and to be connected to the traditions and the lineages and the song lines like that by carrying songs. So I take it as a great responsibility to be a song carrier. It's not just, oh, I know some songs. I carry them with a lot of respect and honor for what they are, and for where they come from, and I share them in that space. So something like that.
I think that's really clear. I understood, and I'm sure my audience will. So thank you very much
Sure.
for just sharing that, because a lot of people will be familiar with your work, but a lot of the listeners won't be. So that's a really good introduction. But you didn't start out carrying these songs, and you didn't start out as a ceremonial musician. So where did your musical journey begin? What are your first memories of listening to music and creating music?
I mean, my first memories, I'm not going to necessarily go that far into my really, really young childhood. I always loved singing. I always loved music. It was always quite a kind of center point of my life. I just remember singing a lot as a child. But for me, when I really started stepping more into it being something that I shared, was when I was about 16, and my mum just gave me a guitar for Christmas. She saw that little kind of seed that had been planted in my being somehow, so she watered it by giving me a guitar, and I started writing. And I mean, in that age, in that time of my life, all I really was aware that there were people who played music, they made recordings, they played on the radio, they went on tour, or whatever, the conventional world of what a musician is. And so I started to find that for me, writing songs, playing music, expressing my feelings through the songs that I was writing was like my therapy in some ways. It was the place that I was able to say things, share things, express myself where I didn't feel able to do in my daily life. But I was still, like what we would call it now, a singer-songwriter. That's the label for that, like whatever that means. I sing and I write songs. And then back then I started playing in music venues and pubs and bars and the conventional part of gigging, because I felt the compulsion in my being to share, not just to write and to create for my own healing process, which it very much was very, very, very important for me in that time. But I also felt this call to go out there and to be offering, but I didn't know that anything else existed. And it very quickly I became aware of that there somehow was an illusion within that whole world that I was in, playing in a music venue with people drunk and talking, and me sitting there bearing my heart, really just very vulnerable and very honest. It's all I knew how to do. I've never been able to lie in that sense. I can only really sing and write from that place of absolute, that nakedness, and to stand naked like that in spaces that just did not have the sensitivity or the capacity or the intention to listen and to hold that deep prayer of the music was very, very painful. So after a few years, I quite clearly made a separation. I kind of broke up, had a bust up, had a divorce in that way, not knowing that there was something else, not knowing that there was another way. All I knew was like, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't bear it. It was breaking my heart, actually.
Wow. So you're at the point where you couldn't go back, but you didn't know what the way forward was. So what did you do?
Well, yeah, it was that classic moment of death, actually, in a kind of sense of, I think this happens for many, many of us, maybe most of us, and for some people more intensely than others at some point in our life. It is this inevitable cycle of reaching those places of, in one way or another, a crisis or a breakdown or a shattering of something that we have known. And in that moment of death before the rebirth is such a scary place to be in. It's like that dark point in the night when everything is absolutely still. And because we know that the dawn is going to come, we can journey through the night. But in that sense of our spiritual journey, in those moments when we just don't trust, or we don't know that the sun is going to rise, and just to be in that darkness and that death, that's a very, very, very powerful place to be present in it also. And I think it's important to not know what is ahead, because if you know what's ahead, then you're dying with a goal or with an intention, and I think dying is about completely letting go. So I out of desperation and out of just being pushed into that space, I left England and I went away to Mexico, thinking that I was going just for a few months, and I actually ended up staying away for 2 years and went on a very, very magical, powerful, very challenging in moments, greatly expanding, great time of expansion for myself. And musically, I stopped singing absolutely for 1.5 years of that time. I didn't play the guitar and I didn't sing, and I stopped writing, and I went into that abyss really fully, which was completely necessary, because when I then emerged, when the dawn came, that light began to kind of start to glow again from within me. It was a total transformation and a total renewal, because the death had been so total.
And with this death, were you able to present? You talked about presence with it. At that young age, were you able, before you went to Mexico and felt the dawn and experienced the dawn. Were you able to be present with it? Were you able to deal with that at that stage?
You know, it's difficult to say, really. I mean, I was able to be present in the sense of I definitely went for it. In my memory of it, I definitely went very, very deep and very fully. But I don't really feel like I had a choice, and I don't feel that I was, you know, I was definitely no sense of mastery of my being at that young. I was 20, 21. My emotions completely took over me, and I lost any sense of really who I was, or what I was here to do, or what I believed in. And yet there's still a presence. We're always, in some way or another, we're always present, even though we're not present. We're still here, and we're still present. So,
and why Mexico? Of all the places in the world, you're maybe 21 years old. You could go anywhere. Why Mexico?
I mean, there can be two answers to that. There can be the reason that I logically thought that I was going, which was at the time that I had heard about this amazing adventure of traveling on horseback, like a traveling circus, traveling on horseback, and nomadic life, living in Mexico, working with children and teaching environmental education. And that wildness really awoke something. It was like that dream made something feel alive in me in that time of just feeling so much darkness. It was a spark, and I just followed that spark. Now I can look back and I can see there's a deeper intuition always working within us. So there may be a reason. That was the reason that I needed to be given a reason to take such a wild step. But now I can see that step was an absolutely crucial step, pivotal moment for me in my life, because the threads that I then found in Mexico, in terms of the native traditions there, the traditions also of the North America that are very strong there, the vision quest, the teachers that I found, the trail that I found there that then led me to Peru, and that then led all these things that have led to this very moment. That was just gold. You know, that death, in that sense, I can also just go, thank you so much. At that time was so difficult that it pushed me to go on that journey. So there's always a deeper answer within why I went there. I can see the bigger picture now.
So a deeper answer as to why you were given a non-satisfactory situation to begin with, that made you fall out of love with music and not sing for a year and a half. So again, that would have, that's there for a reason. There's a push and a pull, but it's there for a reason. There's a deeper something behind you.
And it's always, this is such a powerful teaching for all of us in our life. So just, if we can remember that in those moments when we really fall to our knees, we're pushed to our knees, ground down in those moments, going, why? Wow, why is this? This is really not pleasant. And that we can just somehow find that place inside of us that does know, that has that eagle sight, the bigger picture, that our soul has come here for that exact experience. There's an Eckhart Tolle quote, something about that every single experience that we have in our life is exactly what our soul needs for our soul's evolution. And those, to trust that is exactly the medicine we need, that's going to take us onto our next step, that's going to take us onto our next step, that's going to take us onto that moment of opening and expansion. And then there will be the death again, because that is nature, and this is the cycle of creation, the rebirth, the transformation, the growth, each time a little deeper, each time a little more beautiful.
Like the seasons and like the circle of life. Yeah,
exactly. So, the seasons are good. It's good to in winter I spend a lot of time just studying the trees, and to see the trees in that space of winter and see they're not freaking out.
No, they're just sat there chilling.
Well,
Absolutely.
more than that, there's the energy that goes deep into the earth, into the darkness, into the underworld. To think so many stories and mythologies have this journey of descension, the journey into the underworld, where the energy or the spirit or whatever however we want to speak about it, goes underground. And trees do it in their simple way. So they're massive teachers for us, masters in that sense of just to watch the cycles they go on in a year, and that what they're doing when it's winter, they're actually doing quite a lot, but it's underground, and it's silent, and it's hidden, and it's quiet, and to really
so
trust.
we may not see the life on the surface, but the life is still there, ready for the right moment. So you had your moment in Mexico when you followed those threads, and you mentioned you were introduced to the native traditions there. So from traveling on horseback and teaching children, how did you encounter these native traditions, and how did that affect you?
I mean, it found me. It's definitely that kind of feeling of it just kind of quite naturally appeared in my path. And sure, I was, without realizing, I must have been seeking for it, for that hunger in me. But I really just kind of quite magically stumbled across certain things, certain doorways that opened up, which I won't go in. I mean, I could tell you this story could last for hours, so I won't go into all the details, but it was immediately very, very, very powerful for me. In Mexico, the native traditions of the North Americans, of the Lakota Indians, many of the different Indian traditions are very alive and very strong. There's quite a crossover there. And the songs, playing of the drum, playing and praying, singing and praying, this whole world there, this whole way of using song is completely alive. And that was so new for me. So I think I was first invited to some sweat lodges and going into the womb of the earth, as it represents, and being in that space of prayer and people singing with the drum, singing these songs, these Native American songs or songs in Spanish, and prayers for the earth, prayers for the elements, prayers for creation, prayers for the tribe, for the family. It was just like a total explosion. But also the most powerful thing from it was a feeling of remembering that I would heard those songs. I felt that drum beat in my body, in my heart, felt the earth beneath me, all of us singing together. And it was just like, I know this. Oh, this is what it means to sing, to have that exchange, that conversation with creation and the spirit of life, whatever we want to call God, to speak. There's this beautiful Sufi saying that the human voice is the only instrument created by God. And, to begin then, for me, those revelations, to begin to understand, God gave us a voice, this singing voice, which is distinctly different to our spoken voice, to communicate with God itself, to communicate with nature, to sing like the birds, to sing like the water, to sing like the wind with creation itself. And that from that moment and over the next year and until now, I'm still on that path of opening to what does it even really mean to sing, to allow that sound and vibration to move through my body, and more to understand it's not about I'm singing. I feel for me that singing is about opening ourselves to a force of life to move through us, to an energy of creation to move through us and express its beauty in all the different ways that can sound like. So I just, in many ways, I followed the trail, the song trail, in that sense that there are song lines that go back through the ancestry, through the lineages of traditions, across the land. They literally weave their threads in where the songs travel, and I feel like I actually began to follow those invisible songline threads, which led me to many places in Mexico, to many very amazing ceremonies, traditions, moon dance, sun dance, vision quest in the desert. And it did actually then, that the trail led me to Peru from there, to go and be in a very, very different land and a very different songline. And there, what I found in Peru was many people creating music from that understanding. So it wasn't just the tribal, very native tribal songs. There were people singing with the guitar and singing with the harp and singing with different instruments, but from this place of prayer, deep communication with life, that prayer of healing, that prayer of gratitude. And it was there that I found the permission to start writing and singing again, really my own songs. And they began, from that time, they began to come through in a very, very different way, in a much more honest way. You know, that relief in my being was like, oh, wow, I can really, really speak my truth. And I still, this is the thing, it never ends. I still am going into deeper layers of honesty and truth and authentic, and deepening my prayer and expressing that through song. So then when I returned then from Peru, after that, those 2 years, and I came back to England, it was like that river was very much flowing, the river of songs through me and my voice, and was teaching me so much. It was guiding me. It's like my songs and my voice are really a teacher for me. They really show me the way and teach me about myself, and teach me what is also blocked in me, in the places that are still learning to open. And so then returning back here and sharing with all of that I'd learned there, it's been a very different path of how I share since then, and it's still evolving.
Wow. And now the enthusiasm and the delight in your face comes through in your voice and your face when you're talking about that. It's so clear that you're talking about something so dear to you that really just shines through you. It just fills up your entire being just to even speak about it, let alone to sing it. I can hear that, I can see that as you're describing that experience. And you spoke of this remembering, so it's as if the implication is that you knew these songs before, you knew this way of singing before. Did anyone else, any of the native people, notice that in you? Did they notice, she remembers? Could they see any of that?
It's definitely difficult for me to answer that. I don't know exactly. I definitely felt that there was a sense of recognition from the people that I was with in those different times, those different places. There was a sense of really a welcoming and an acknowledgement. So I don't feel I can say necessarily they recognized that I had known it before. More than that, they could definitely recognize just that passion and that aliveness that it brought to my being. And really that's what's relevant. If someone is like, find something that brings their spirit to life in anything that we do, and that's to be taken care of. And so I feel that any elders or native people or anyone actually who is perhaps holding a space or carving a way, that's a very important thing for them, that they will recognize the people who are really here to remember, whether they remember or not. If you show up like, I am here to remember, and I am here to pray, I'm here to learn, and I'm here to grow, then there's a space.
Mm. And then you brought that back with you. So you must have finished in Peru at some stage. You come home. What next? How did you integrate this into the world you'd come from back in England?
It's been, it has been many years. I came back, I think, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So I can't really say exactly what happened when I came back, but I think I can more speak about over these many years, because it has taken time also. It's like I discovered like these precious jewels that I kind of safely tucked away in my being, took them back with me, or seeds. Maybe you could speak more about seeds. And I see some seeds, they just stay dormant. And that potential, that potency is very much there. So I feel that some seeds have just been with me really deeply in my heart. Some seeds have just been slowly growing and kind of slowly feeding into me. And because it's a continuous journey of revealing, I still feel that was just the opening of the door for me there. But the stepping through the door and then walking into wherever this door and the pathway is leading is going to last my whole lifetime. So it's been a path of just really going deep into my exploration of sound, of song, the mystery that is there, the magic that is there, that it connects to all the millions of traditions and song lines that they connect to, and the teachings that are there of how sound is healing, how sound is communicating, how we feel when we sing, how to open that space and to find that song in our spirit and allow it to be here. And so for me, it's like a very, very deeply personal journey, deeply personal, because it's my most intimate way of praying with myself, for myself, my most private, personal, painful, beautiful, delicate places in my being. That's where I go to with my voice and my songs. So there's that side of my own exploration, curiosity, fascination with song and sound and the traditions, my fascination with the healing power of song, of the voice, and then how I share that with the world which is also my healing. That's the beauty of it. It's also for me to share and offer, that is also a very important part of my prayer and my healing. So it's been many things, there's like many flowers to this tree that has been growing from this seed. And this is where this kind of concept of ceremonial musician comes in, is that I have begun to share again in what seems like a concert form, but for me, I see that as a sacred space that is created not just by me, it's created by all who are together in that space. The listener is absolutely co-creating that ceremonial space, that journey. So for me, the concerts, they can be very, very beautiful and can go into very deep spaces. People can enter very powerful places of healing, deep listening and meditation, communicating. I really welcome people to sing along. People can, there's been beautiful, beautiful times, the whole room singing and people dancing, and that we enter a place of prayer. Temple, it's a temple. It's like another way of going to church. And like that, it's also a sound journey. I've been offering sound journeys, have been working more with that intention of sound healing, and the workshops and collaborations with other people who are inspiring me and who are doing have a similar intention for this work. And yeah, it's
So all these musical sharings, these prayers and these healings that are such powerful healings for you are also a healing for everyone who's listening, everyone in that space. So these flowers that have come from these seeds, these many different flowers you're able to put into the world, whether it be in what we might call a concert, or whether it might be in what you would call a sound healing, or whether it might be even, would you even extend that to your album? That these were a healing for you and could be a healing for others as well?
Certainly. I mean, for me, I just see that this is just the way that it is. When something is truly, authentically healing for somebody, that space, the way that they can share that. I mean, you see this a lot with people when they're really walking their path and their passion, that it's not just something that they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to just share this because I feel like sharing this or I enjoy it. It's like so deeply in their heart and and embodied in their experience. And you know, in some ways, to use the word healing is also, I'm sure there's a question there also of like, what are we even talking about when we talk about healing? So if I was to give a definition in this sense of like, I think I would just say, maybe we could say more like returning home, that sense of finding home within ourselves. So for some person who finds home within their being when they paint a beautiful painting, they find it's really authentic and they really genuinely experiencing that, embodying that feeling and that joy and that connection with themselves and with something greater than themselves. I can just guarantee you that to look at that painting will bring the viewer home. So it's in that sense of we're all just kind of sharing our experience and guiding each other through. If we have walked the pathway, it's like that, I guess. If someone walks ahead the pathway in the forest and they're finding their way home and they leave a little trail, it can help people to find other people to find the way. So in that sense, that's really what I feel I'm doing when I sing my songs, or when I hold a workshop or whatever it's that I'm doing. It's because that has been the way for me that I found and carved a pathway for myself in the woods, because this world is a pretty crazy woodland, pretty dark forest sometimes with thorns and all kinds of stuff. And it's quite a journey to walk here. It's quite an intense time to be alive. And so I'm just sharing the way that I have found, and hoping that trail can be of guidance and can be nourishing and can bring goodness to people in their hearts and their paths and to this world and for this earth, for all that lives here on this earth. So that trail is my prayer. It's a very strong prayer.
Now, you mentioned a couple of things there. You mentioned the word heart, and I had in my head, as you were talking about coming home, I had heart and soul. It's like if you connect with your heart and soul and express that, so you're expressing your deepest feelings, that there is power in that vulnerability. And there's something about the heart and soul that brings people home, and that heart and soul can be expressed in music or expressed in a painting. And that's something that was very strongly coming to me just then. And you mentioned this earth as well, and that's something I wanted to ask you about, because I've seen, and people can see it on your website, and I will leave all the website details in the description and at the end of this show. But on your website, there's a video for Unchi Maka. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Unchi Maka,
yeah. And there's something written underneath from Chief Seattle. It's a message from Chief Seattle. And the video is there seems to be some kind of water blessing and offering to the ocean. And this sharing from Chief Seattle about the earth and our connection to it. It says, man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. So how do you see your work connecting with the earth? You've talked about, when you were in the sweat lodges, that was like in the earth's womb. How does your work connect? How do you connect? How does your heart connect with the earth?
That's a beautiful question to be asked. I mean, I guess I feel just such a strong sense, and always have done actually, of I belong to this earth. Like this is my mother. And I think all of us who are connected to ourselves feel this, because this is the truth. This is the simple truth. And if we don't feel it, it's because we are disconnected from ourselves and from the earth. But the earth is our mother. This creation, this beautiful, beautiful world that we live in, that sustains all life, the miracle of the water, the miracle of the fire, of the air, the earth, the elements. And the more that I have walked my path and followed the trails and spent time living very closely to the earth, and learning from traditions that are, many of the traditions, they kind of call the native traditions, are like the earth wisdom keepers, or the guardians of the earth. And they have this, they still remember this understanding that us as human beings, we did not come here just to live off the earth, live from the earth, or just to be her children, but more than that, we have come here with a deeper purpose, and that is to be the guardians, the carriers of a very high consciousness with great capacity, an immense capacity in us for magic. The way that the tribal, the indigenous peoples, the gifts that they have, the magic that they are able to work with through intense training and initiation is beyond our comprehension. We will never in our lifetime probably even be able to fathom. But we sense this mystery. We sense that peace when we just sit in stillness with a tree, or when we watch the sunset, or when we are with the ocean. We feel the medicine, which is the love of the earth pouring into us, and being in that connection, being in that place where we are remembering that we are not separate, that we cannot, it's impossible to be separate. We can be disconnected in our illusion, but we can never be separate. We are a strand in this web of life, as Chief Seattle says. So for me, I feel my prayer in my heart, in that sense of this earth as our mother, is I have had many moments of revealing this continuous prayer inside of my heart, which is that I offer my life, and I offer my voice and my heart and my soul and my song to the earth, to the earth. That is such a strong prayer for me. And in that sense, in that offering of devotion and love for the earth, I feel that what I am discovering is that I am the earth singing through me. We all are. When we really can surrender and let go and open ourselves, this is part of the magic of being a human being. We have that possibility and that capacity to open our beings, to open our voices, open our bodies through dance, to allow the spirit of life to move through and express us. And it can also be the same with our art, or there's so many ways of creativity, of greater force moving through us, and that's how it can be so beautiful. So it's something like that. And it comes with many other layers to it also, you know, that there is the prayer for me, that also with my music, that I can be part of this movement, this of global remembering, and part of this global movement of returning back to the earth, returning back to the wisdom, this earth consciousness, these ancient ways. And in as we do that we learn to live, not that we learn, we remember that we know how to live with this earth in a way that is harmonious and full of kindness and in balance with what is here, and that we take care, that we really take care of this mother, our mother, take care of our waters, our rivers, our oceans, take care of the air, take care of our children, take care of our grandparents, take care of the forest, the elders, take care of that which is real, and that which really matters, and that which is the fabric of this life. Take care of the spirit that we are, and that's how we are able to open to the song of the earth singing through us, because we are the earth, because we are the spirit of life, because our soul, the truth of our soul, is not separate.
Wow, you were actually taking so many words out of my mouth just then, and you were answering so many of my questions without me
good.
asking. And I could just, once again, as you described, when you described going into those song circles with the native people, I could just feel the delight, the overwhelming passion in your voice that it is what you are living. It, you know, your life is a prayer. It's just, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And that really
all of us just need to say that, like,
yes,
that is what our lives are. Our lives is a living prayer that we are experiencing here, and it's up to us what prayer we're making. Also, it's up to us how we live that prayer, how we show up to that prayer, what intention we really put to our life. But the more that we can realize that actually every breath can be a prayer. Every breath can be this divine exchange and communication with the spirit of life, because the air is the spirit of life. Every sip of water is the spirit of life. Every time we eat, every time we look into the eyes of a stranger, we're meeting the spirit of life there reflected in us. It's like this life is a miracle. Our lives, though, is a miracle. Our lives really are a prayer.
I agree that the life is a miracle. Either, I believe it was Einstein said, either everything is a miracle or nothing is. And to me, it's just very clear that everything is, including this communication now. Yeah, he knew. He knew about that. Absolutely, he did. Okay. So you've answered so many questions that I was writing down here. What I wanted to ask you next, because you've spoken of this journey, and it's been a wonderful journey, and it still is a wonderful journey. So what are you really working on now? I've seen on your website that you have some workshops, and so what are you creating now, and what are you sharing right now?
Yeah, it feels like a blossom that is kind of really, in this, maybe this past 6 months, has really begun to open. I'm sure it's been a blossom that's been there. I see it's a process of every footstep of my whole life has led me to this moment. For all of us, it's like that. But what is coming through for me very strongly now, that I feel very passionate and excited to share, is this workshop, which is still it will be in formation, I'm sure, forever. It will grow and expand, that I am calling the Song of the Soul. And it is in a sense, I also don't like the word workshop, actually. It's like definitely not a singing workshop in that sense of like, it feels so much more than that for me, because what it is I am finding ways to share all that I've just been speaking about, actually, like all and more, because I haven't said everything of what I have been discovering and exploring around my journey with my voice, with what it means for me to really open myself, to allow myself to be sung, this journey of remembering, this journey of returning, of coming home, of connecting to tribal traditions, indigenous lineages, the songs, the teachings within these songs, the ritual, the way of working with offerings, the way of using song as offerings, the way of working with prayer, working with plants, working with sacred objects, working with the body, with movement, with breath, with vibration, with sound healing. And so it's many, 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 many things that are being woven together into this journey. It's a journey that's called the Song of the Soul. It's a ceremony. It's a temple space. It's a space for healing, a space to really open ourselves to allow that song of the soul to be sung. And for me, this is an interesting thing, because I very, very strongly believe that the song of the soul, to kind of define what that means, is really the mystery, actually. I feel that we are each born with a song of our soul already written in our being. And this connects to there's many different native traditions that have this belief woven into their stories. There's a beautiful African, I don't know exactly from which tribe they are, but I was told this story that they say that when the moment of conception, before we even arrive into the belly, when our spirit is kind of like pulled towards this reality, it's pulled by a song that awakens us. There's like a song being sung that enchants us to come. But it's a very unique song of our soul. And in this particular African tradition, they say that the mother will already begin to receive the song in the pregnancy. She will begin to sing the song. When you are born, all the people will be gathered around. They'll sing this song to you when you're born. When you go to sleep as a baby, your mother will sing it to you, and you will learn this song. You will carry this song. And this is that's a more of a literal representation. But what's beautiful in their tradition is, if you lose your way, if you lose track of yourself, of your path, if you become disconnected, if something happens, if there's a crisis, if you're in sorrow, your tribe will gather around you and sing the song of your soul to bring you back home. So in some ways, that is somehow woven into this workshop. It's not so literal as that, but it is this singing ourselves back to the source, and that we are each born with a song in our soul woven into the tapestry of our being. And for me, I see that this song of our soul is not just a song. This song of our soul is the purpose with which we have come here for. It is that which we have come here to create in our life. that which is our passion, our gift, our offering, our prayer, that is the song of our soul. So it may be to be a mother, or it may be to be a gardener, or it may be to be an artist, or it may be whatever it is that is feels like our soul's calling. That for me is the song of our soul. And ultimately, this workshop that I'm sharing and creating, that is also the intention, is that through literally using sound and prayer and offering and ritual and vibration and song, that we are awakening that purpose of our spirit, that song of our soul, and awakening that courage in our being to really embody that in our life, to dream, to sow those seeds, to take care of the seeds of our dreams and our prayers, and to really live our life as our soul came here to.
So once again, you've answered my questions. For those who can't see, I'm holding up my questions here.
Oh no, well you can ask me there again, because I'm sure I'll say something
It's
more
just
that I
about
haven't
how
said.
music can help us heal and become more aligned with our authentic selves, and then also to help us remember how to live in harmony with each other and the planet. And you've just been answering question after question that I've written down here.
That's
I don't need
great.
to ask
Well, then
them.
we're tuned into the same. No, but for sure I can say more about, there's how music can help us heal. I mean, that's a massive topic. There are thousands of books written on this, and more than that, this is how people have been working for millennia. That there is a magic to sound and vibration, and it's also very scientific that vibration exists. We are made of vibration. Every single cell in our body is vibrating, and when we sing certain notes and with a certain intention, that we are recalibrating the vibration in our body. But it's more than just a science, or more than just about vibration. It's really about intention. And you see that the shamanic traditions of the world, I don't know if there's a single shamanic tradition that doesn't use sound. I've yet to hear of one that doesn't use sound specifically for healing, specifically for communicating with the spirits, with the ancestors, with the plants, with the bodies, with themselves. For example, the Shipibo from the Amazon jungle, they are very interesting in that they believe that this reality is woven together with song. So in that sense of that, all of reality is vibrating. It's like a tapestry of song. So it's like all these threads, and each thread is a song, and it's woven together in this intricate, masterful, complex tapestry. So they train in their amazing lifetime of training that goes back through their elders, thousands and thousands of years. They learn to be able to visually read the song lines, to be able to look at a human body, or to look at a tree, or to look at a plant, and they see visually these threads that are woven, that are drawn, and they can sing. They are trained to sing, like it's like reading music, another way of reading music. So they can look at a body, and they can see where the thread may be broken or tangled, and through using the voice, they reweave. They sing that song back into its perfection. So that's like another, just opens up that space of what can really happen with song, and it's with the intention. So I also really feel when we are singing with intention and sending that vibration into our body, but it's also more that when we're singing with that prayer and with that connection, with that feeling of connection to the sky, to the earth, and sending out that prayer. I mean, the Native Americans is like This is something I have really, really learnt from my times and the path that I walk with. That as a big part of my life is the prayers. The way they sing in that prayer. The native traditions is very, very strongly about prayer, about firing those arrows of prayer, communicating with that humbleness and that honor for creation. And it's through song and it's through the drum in a very simple way, and it's so beautiful. And do you know, I can't even remember what question you asked me now. I'm just talking about.
Neither can I, but you didn't just answer the
Sound as
question that I
healing.
asked. You answered so many more, including, you know, the laughter in the middle of that, for those who can't see, because I held up my questions that you were answering on your own automatically by that very magic that you spoke of earlier.
So yeah, while we're speaking about the healing power of song and of sound, it feels really important for me to share that I have come to learn and to understand that the songs themselves are spirits, especially the songs that have been sung for many generations, that have been passed down through bloodlines, that have been used with a clear and powerful intention over many prayers. That these songs, that there is a spirit, that this song is invoking and summoning a spirit. And there's it's a very delicate thing to do, actually. Also, if we don't know what we're doing, that there are many songs that can only be sung by someone who's gone through an intense initiation to sing that song and to use the power of that spirit, because it's such a powerful thing to do, to invoke spirits to come here and work with us, to ask them to do a specific thing. So in terms of the healing power of song, it's that we can remember that when we are singing a song, whether it be a traditional song or an old song, or whether it be our own songs, or whether it be a spontaneous sound, that there is a potential there to actually really invoke a spiritual force, a spirit that has a very specific medicine. That different songs have very different specific medicines. That different songs have different healing potentials. Or some songs are to summon healing, or some songs are to send out gratitude, or there can be very different intentions to ask for help. And for me, it's just been so beautiful, this process of learning that with my own songs, to honor my own songs that come through, to go, wow, this is not my song. This is a spirit in its own that just thankfully chose me to be its mother to give birth to it. But how I can work with the songs as I sing them, to know that there are spirits that are also connected to each song, that will work with certain songs. When we sing one song, there may be a whole tribe of ancestors who come and they go, oh yeah, oh, you called me, and they come and they work with the people. And the more that we can work with this awareness and this intention that we are summoning, that we are calling, that we are communicating with an invisible realm when we sing, to take care of the songs. When we learn songs now in this world of SoundCloud and all of this, that their songs are really being passed around, and it's amazing that they can be so brought to life. But it's also how we can be really, really careful to deeply honor and respect the spirit of these songs, where they come from, the intention there, to know what it is that we are working with, really to work with that power. And in that way we also give power to the song, when we know what we're connecting to, what we're communicating with, and to just receive with so much gratitude the spirit. Not just, this sounds beautiful, but there's a spirit we are walking with, as a companion, taking care of us. Yeah.
Wow, that was really powerful.
Mm.
Really powerful. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
Now I'll just explain what happened there. I'll just pause it for a second. Okay, we're actually coming towards the end of our interview here. So there are a couple of questions I'd love to ask you to finish. And we talked about your journey from that girl who was first given a guitar at the age of 16.
Mm.
If you could go back and speak to that girl who's just received that guitar, what, if anything, would you say to her?
I think the first thing that comes up for me is the word trust, which probably for all of us is a big part of being human in this life that we live with all that it brings us, the challenges of just being a human being. Actually, you know, I can kind of just see how, like, so much of what I have sung about and written about has been about that journey of finding that trust or losing that trust, finding a way to have trust and to really surrender to life, just to trust life is bringing me what I need, even when it really hurts or it's really challenging, which it often is. There's a lot that can cause pain in this life, and for me the music has helped me so much to understand it from a deeper place of my soul. So I think there's something there that I would like to just say to her, like, just be courageous in your spirit, Isla, in standing in the storms that life is going to bring you. It's okay, like the storms are going to come, and it's okay, and to really trust the medicine of the storm, the wisdom of the storm, the wisdom of the broken heart. And then at the same time as I say this, I also understand that she needed to not trust in moments, and she needed to experience desolation or moments of, like, help me, I'm lost, I don't feel anything, or I feel too much and it hurts, or whatever, whatever, in all those moments. It needed to be that way. And that's also, it's like I'm saying it to myself right now, trust that exactly how it was exactly how it needed to happen, because that was how it carried me to this very moment. So there's many things I could say to her, but I actually wouldn't say anything, because I know it needed to be like that. It needed to be like that.
It needed to unfold as it did.
Mm.
And you wrote a song about that, didn't you?
Trust and surrender.
Yeah.
Yeah, my songs just, like, still come back and remind me sometimes.
Yeah, they're
Just
handy. They're very
remember,
handy.
just and remember, surrender.
And it does remind me. I actually sometimes play that song when I need that very reminder. And I
Good.
actually do go back to it in my mind, or if I have it to hand, I'll put that on for that very reason.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not just a lesson for you, and it's like you say, your prayer is the prayer for your audience as well, and it's your prayer for the earth. It's the prayer
Mm.
for everyone and everything.
Mm.
So thank you very much for that. And I have one final question, really, which is, if you had the opportunity to say something to the world, to as many people as possible, but it's the last chance you'll get to share something, what would you want to say? Just like your one last talk, you can say something, give a message.
I would say I would really ask people to find ways in our life to really awaken and embody the prayer of our spirit, the song of our soul, to find the ways that are unique for us, that we can live our life as our prayer, that we can live every moment as a prayer, that we can receive all that life is gifting us, every single colour and shade of it, as part of this prayer, receiving it with gratitude. Find simple ways in our daily life to enchant beauty and magic in our life, to sit in stillness and silence and presence with the miracle of this creation, to find the time to sit with the water and listen and ask, what are you singing to me? What is your wisdom? I'm here to listen to the sky, to the stars, the moon, to be with the wisdom of the earth, to allow ourselves to be held and guided by the invisible realm, to be guided by all the beings that are with us, loving us, showing us the way, to really take care of our relationship with the earth, with the elements, with the ancestors, with the water, with the fire, to take care of all our relations, to take care of that relationship we have with every single human being on this earth that we don't even know, and all the beings that we do know. To remember to say thank you, to remember the power of the prayer of gratitude, to remember that we don't actually need to ask for anything. It's just to remember to say thank you, that all that we need is here, is that we are taken care of, that we are held. And to be brave, I would like to just remind us to really be brave and to take care of that fire inside of our own being. It's again back to the prayer, to tend to that fire, not let the fire go out or get too cold. That we need a lot of warmth and a lot of strength in this time. To be human here on this earth in this time takes a lot of courage that we were even born here, to honor ourselves for coming here, to listen to the song of our soul and to honor that song, and to find ways to make space and carve that path that we can really embody the purpose that we have come here for, and to enjoy, to smile and to laugh and to sing and to remember to dance and to remember to go jump in cold water and watch the sunrise, and the simple things, to remember to honor the simple magic of our life in stillness and in connection with this earth and with the spirit that we are, that is all around us. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. That's your one last talk. That's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, goodness,
Thank you.
yeah.
I was feeling the inspiration from that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thank you for your sharing today. It's been absolutely beautiful, and it's really been inspiring and opened my mind and my heart. So thank you very, very much for that. I'm sure it will do the same for those who listen. So thank you. Before you disappear, I just wanted to ask you, where can people find you? Where can they find your music? Where can they find your workshops? Where can they connect with you?
The best thing is definitely to keep checking in with my website, which you'll put a link to. That everything that is upcoming events is on there, and that I am over this next year a lot around Europe, and quite a few different countries in Europe, and doing some beautiful creative ways of sharing. There's a few workshops that are going to be in teepee spaces in wild lands, one in Austria and Slovenia, and yeah, there's always new things happening.
Fantastic. So I will put that in the show notes, in the description, so anyone can find Isla. And thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like to share just before we wrap up here?
No, I think I've said plenty.
Yeah, you can
There's
do.
always more. I'm sure we could do a whole chapter 2 interview, but no, for now it's beautiful for me to be able to share these things. So thank you so much.
I'm sure there will be a chapter 2. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
Isla Schaefer. Thank you very, very much for your time and your sharing today.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Llévame con tus alas de luz, águila, tráenos medicina del viento, del aire, de las estrellas, del sol, brillando, me guía el camino. Llévame con tus alas de luz, águila, tráenos medicina del viento, del aire, de las estrellas, del sol, brillando, me guía el camino. Cura, 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 me sana todo lo que yo llevo. Agradezco por mi vida, Pachamama, yo te amo. Cura, 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 me sana todo lo que yo llevo. Agradezco por mi vida, Pachamama, yo te amo. Llévame con tus alas de amor, condorcito, tráenos medicina del cielo, ilumina mi interior, volando me enseña el camino. Llévame con tus alas de amor, condorcito, tráenos medicina del cielo, ilumina mi interior, volando me enseña el camino. Cura, 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 me sana todo lo que yo llevo. Agradezco por mi vida, Pachamama, yo te amo. Cura, 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 me sana todo lo que yo llevo. Agradezco por mi vida, Pachamama, yo te amo. Vuela con el viento, vuela con el viento, vuela con el viento, vuela con el viento.